Hello Shade, Reverend Colin here. It's good to be back with you again for another assembly, and I hope you all had a really good half term and are happy to be back at school, enjoying yourselves and doing some good work. Now, the last few assemblies we've been thinking about trust, about trustworthiness, about trusting people, about trusting ourselves. I also know that this week you'll be thinking a bit about animals. If I'd have been with you, I'd have been asking you what animals, pets, you might have. Perhaps some of you have got small pets like hamsters or guinea pigs, or maybe you've got a rabbit, or maybe pet birds, or pet fish, or maybe you've got a cat, or perhaps a dog. We don't have any pets here, but we do have a friend dog who comes to visit us quite often. This is her. This is our little friend Annie sitting on my lap, which is where she likes to be, and she thinks she's helping me work. But I'm not sure she is, but she does like sitting on a lap, watching the world around her. I'd like to tell you about another very special dog. This dog is called Bobby. And Bobby was a Skye Terrier. In case you don't know what one looks like, this is a Skye Terrier. Skye Terriers get their name because they come from the Isle of Skye, which is an island off of Scotland. And as you can see, they have long, shaggy hair, even covering their ears, and sometimes you can't even see their eyes. But they're very faithful dogs and very trusting. The dog in our story grew up on a farm, and she was bought by a man called John Gray. Now, John didn't live in the countryside. He lived in a big city in Scotland called Edinburgh. You might even have been there. John was a night watchman, which meant he was a bit like a policeman, and he used to go around at night making sure the streets were safe. And when he did, he would take Bobby with him, and Bobby would help him to catch people who were doing bad things and to take them back to the police station and have them locked up. And Bobby and John became great friends and got on very well. But as John got older, he could no longer do his night watchman work, and so he had to retire. But he kept Bobby, and instead of walking the streets of Edinburgh at night, they would travel out into the countryside around Edinburgh, and they became even firmer friends. Sadly, John didn't get any better, and one day he died. And he was buried in the graveyard of a church in Edinburgh called Greyfriars. Bobby went to live with John's son, but he wasn't very happy because he missed John. And one day he escaped. He got away and nobody could find him. And then somebody found him at the graveyard. He was sitting on John's grave. Now, animals aren't allowed in the graveyard, so somebody tried to chase him out, but he wouldn't have it. He sat there and he growled and he bared his teeth and he grumbled. So they thought, no, we'll leave him. He'll get fed up and he'll go home. But Bobby didn't. Bobby stayed. He stayed all day, all night, the next day, the next night, for weeks and months and years. Bobby stayed by John's grave for 14 years. In fact, he became so famous, people would come to visit him from all over just to see Bobby at Greyfriars. After 14 years of guarding John's grave, Bobby died as well in 1872. That's nearly 150 years ago. And the people of Edinburgh were so in love with Bobby and thought so much of what he'd done that they raised some money and built a statue of him. And here it is. He became known as Greyfriars Bobby. And if you go to Edinburgh today, you can still see this statue. And can you see, if you look closely, that his nose is a different colour? And that's because when people walk past, they pat Bobby on the nose. And so many people have done it that they've worn the paint off and you can see the metal underneath him. But if you go, I hope you go to see Bobby, and I hope you pat his nose too. Bobby was a trustworthy and faithful friend to John. He wouldn't leave him. Even when John died, he wanted to be close to him. I wonder how good friends we are, how faithful we are to one another, how trustworthy we are to one another. Maybe we'll never be as faithful and trustworthy to our friends as Bobby was to John. But we can try. We can try to be the best friends we can be and be trusted by those around. So remember, Greyfriars Bobby. We're going to say a prayer now. If you'd like to pray with me, please do. If not, please just sit quietly and remember the story of Greyfriars Bobby. We're going to do the prayer drill first. You remember, we go 1, 2, 3. Dear God, we thank you for friends we can trust, friends who are faithful, friends who always stick by us. Help us to be like that. Help us to be as faithful as they are, that through good and bad we stick with each other. Amen. Thank you, Shade, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.